Welcome back. And again, a very special welcome to our guest, Kevin Freeman, a duty regular here on economic warfare issues. And Kevin, as long as I've known you, you have been raising an alarm about another very serious manifestation of economic warfare, arguably the single most devastating thing that the Chinese Communist Party, the Russians, or others could do to us economically, and that is ending the reign of the dollar as the world's reserve currency. It seems as though something that, again, you forecast, a lot of others said couldn't happen or certainly wouldn't happen anytime soon, is now upon us. Give us an update on that problem as you see it today.
Yeah, and people don't think about this because everything we do in transactions is in dollar terms, but they don't realize that our federal government has borrowed $30 trillion. And to put it into context, the average household, let's say if your household was earning $40,000 a year, you were spending $50 or $60,000 a year, and you owed $300,000 in debt. Well, that's kind of the situation the federal government is in right now.
And a
And
lot of that has been amassed in just the past year, has it not?
when Bush left office, it was around 10 trillion. It is now 30.5 trillion. So it is an enormous ramp up. We are
And how's that
essentially broke.
Yeah, how is that now manifesting itself in an unwillingness of some people to use the dollar any longer, for example, purchases of energy?
Well, we had made arrangements that the dollar would be used whenever oil was purchased, but now the Saudis, and this is a part of our debt and part of the policy of this administration. Pro-Iran policies make the Saudis question whether or not they need to support the dollar. The Russians are getting people to trade for natural gas in rubles and not in dollars. People don't need dollars or want dollars around the world like they did before. So who's going to finance our debt? Where's that $30 trillion going to come from? How do we finance it? If we lose the dollar as a reserve currency of the world, it puts us in a situation like Zimbabwe when their currency collapsed, or Argentina, or more recently Venezuela, or Germany during the 1930s. So keeping the dollar's respect around the world is absolutely essential. At the same time, the Chinese, the Russians, the North Koreans, the Iranians, and others have said, hey, let's work together and dethrone the dollar. And some of our allies, including India and Saudi Arabia and Israel and others, well, maybe we don't need as many dollars. This is a existential threat to the viability of the United States as an ongoing entity.
Right. And the Russians are now insisting that their purchases be made in rubles, and I gather European countries have been opening ruble accounts for the
Yes,
purpose.
yes.
So this is another tectonic shift. Kevin, again, I want to commend you for not just worrying about these sorts of problems or telling the rest of us we better be worrying about them, but doing something proactively to try to address the problems you've identified. Talk a little bit about what you are calling the digital Texan.
Right. Well, Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution says basically states can't print their own money, but they can, uh, given a Supreme Court ruling and what it says in the Constitution, they can take gold and silver on deposit and create literally a gold standard and then apply cryptocurrency capability on top of it. And
Hmm.
so we're working with the state of Texas to hopefully implement a digital Texan, which would function and work as a money supply alternative should the dollar fail. And the beauty of it is, if we get it up and operating, it makes it less likely that someone will try and take the US dollar down because they know that it wouldn't succeed in destroying America as a country. So it's something we've been working on for a long time. It has great promise. It's the ability to own gold and silver without worrying about taxation and have it guaranteed. So it's gold and silver. It is a big inflation hedge. It's really a creative thing that was put in the Constitution by our founders that a state can now exploit, and not just Texas, Florida or Nevada or New Jersey or Alaska or Oklahoma. They're all open to do it. And we just want to pioneer and show the way here in Texas.
The key piece of this, as far as I'm concerned, Kevin, is that, as you have also indicated, there's a danger that if you have these central bank digital currencies, CBDCs as they're called, um, emerging, that you might find them turning into programmable currency and tied in with a social credit system of the kind China uses to control the use that's made of this money or other behavior of those who hold it. Um, Talk a little bit about the privacy practices that you are trying to make sure get baked into this vision of the digital Texan.
Well, the beauty of paper currency is that you can go and spend it and they don't track you with it. I mean, they can if they go to elaborate means, but it's not simple. The central bank digital currencies are designed to track and control everything. They're designed by George Orwell himself almost. And the idea is that if you have digital dollar or digital yuan or digital ruble, that they can control every aspect of your life, how you spend it, where you spend it, whether or not you're allowed to spend it, uh, track you when you do spend it. We think that is anti-constitution. So when we create the digital Texan, one big push is to have privacy rights to where you have the anonymity like you do with a Bitcoin right now. And unless they have a court order and really dig into it, they're not going to be able to find anything or track you in any way. And I think that's essential for a free society, that we have the right to act as economic beings without centralized control of every decision. That's the difference between liberty and communism.
Right. And unfortunately, what we're seeing, I think clearly in the case of the Chinese yuan, and probably that of other central banks, is a penchant for that control. And Kevin, this is a really inspiring alternative to it. We commend you for your leadership on it and look forward to hearing more about it in the days to come. I want to thank you for being with us. As always, Kevin, it's great to have a chance to visit with you. And as I say, your leadership on all of these issues is inspiring as well as much needed. I want to thank the rest of you for being with us for this edition of Securing America. I hope you feel better equipped as a result to join us in doing just that. You can find out more about how to do that at our programs at securingamerica.tv. And then, as I'm fond of saying, I hope you will go forth and multiply.